The land was Canaan. The family was large, 12 sons each born to Jacob, the grandson of Abraham. Yet among them one stood apart. His name was Joseph. Born to Jacob in his old age through Rachel, his beloved wife, Joseph became the light of his father's eyes. The favoritism was not subtle. It was embroidered in thread and dye. Jacob gifted Joseph a tunic of many colors, a robe that flowed like royalty, unlike the plain garments of his brothers. And they noticed, as the sun rose over the hills of Hebron, Joseph walked with grace, unaware that every step in that vibrant robe was like a dagger to his brother's pride. They toiled under the sun, tending flocks and managing land, while Joseph remained near his father, trusted, cherished, different. But what ignited their hatred was not just favoritism. It was the dreams. Joseph, innocent in his youth, began to speak of visions that stirred the soul. One night, he dreamt they were binding sheaves in a field. Suddenly, his sheaf stood upright while theirs gathered around and bowed before it. Another night, the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed low to him. The implications were clear, too clear. He would one day rise. They would fall. He would lead, they would bow. The very thought enraged his brothers. "Shall you indeed reign over us?" they snapped, eyes burning. Even Jacob rebuked him, yet kept the matter in his heart, wondering what it could mean. These dreams were not born of arrogance, but revelation. Joseph was not scheming, he was seeing. And yet his visions became a wedge. His purity incited hostility. His anointing their resentment. Still unaware of the storm brewing, Joseph lived faithfully, obedient to his father. Unaware that his greatest trials were about to begin, because favor invites testing and destiny before it rises, must be sifted by fire. This was not just a family feud. It was the beginning of a divine journey, one that would reshape nations. And it all started with a robe, a dream, and a jealous heart. One day, Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers, who were grazing their flocks near Shechem. Wearing his multicolored robe, Joseph obeyed, unaware that each step he took was a step toward betrayal. The brothers saw him from afar. Before he could greet them, jealousy erupted into conspiracy. "Here comes that dreamer," they hissed. "Let's kill him and throw him into a pit. We'll say a wild beast devoured him. Then we'll see what becomes of his dreams." But Reuben, the eldest, intervened. "Do not shed blood. Throw him into this cistern, but don't lay a hand on him." Reuben secretly planned to rescue him later. So when Joseph arrived, heart pure, eyes bright, they seized him. They tore the robe from his back and cast him into a dry well. Then Judah spotted a caravan of Ishmaelite traders headed to Egypt. "Why kill him?" he reasoned. "Let's sell him. He is our brother after all." They pulled him out, traded him for 20 pieces of silver, the price of a slave, and watched him disappear into the horizon. They returned to Jacob with Joseph's blood-stained robe, dripping with goat's blood. Their father wept bitterly, mourning a son he believed was dead. Enslaved in Egypt, dragged in chains, Joseph was sold again, this time to Potiphar, captain of Pharaoh's guard. But Scripture records something remarkable, and the Lord was with Joseph. Even in bondage, Joseph served faithfully. Potiphar quickly saw the excellence in him. He placed Joseph in charge of his household, entrusting everything under his care, and for a time things flourished. Until temptation came knocking. Potiphar's wife, noticing Joseph's appearance and strength, seduced him repeatedly. But Joseph, though young and alone, remained unwavering. "How can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" One day she seized him by his garment and demanded he lie with her. Joseph fled, leaving the garment in her hands. Angered by rejection, she falsely accused him. Potiphar, furious yet conflicted, threw Joseph into prison. From the pit to slavery, now to prison, a prisoner with purpose. But even there God was with Joseph. In the darkness of the dungeon, the light of integrity could not be extinguished. The prison warden took notice of Joseph's wisdom and granted him leadership among the inmates. He was faithful in the small things even behind bars. Two men soon entered his life, Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and chief baker, imprisoned for offenses. Each had a dream. Their faces were troubled, and Joseph, moved with compassion, asked them why. "We both had dreams," they replied, "but there is no one to interpret them." Joseph answered with humility and confidence, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell them to me." The cupbearer dreamed of a vine with 3 branches budding and producing grapes that he gave to Pharaoh. Joseph interpreted, "In 3 days you'll be restored to your position." The baker dreamed of 3 baskets of bread on his head, which birds came and ate. Joseph solemnly interpreted, "In 3 days Pharaoh will lift your head off you. You will be executed." 3 days passed. It happened exactly as Joseph said, but the cupbearer forgot him. Forgotten yet not forsaken. Days turned into months. Months became years. And Joseph remained in prison, forgotten by men, but not by God. In that stillness he learned to wait, to trust without evidence. His gift remained. His dream remained. But his name was forgotten, for now. Then one night, years later, Pharaoh dreamed. In the first dream he stood by the Nile and saw 7 fat cows grazing. Suddenly 7 thin, ugly cows emerged and devoured the healthy ones. In the second, 7 full ears of grain were swallowed by 7 thin and scorched ones. Pharaoh woke troubled. He summoned his magicians and wise men, but none could interpret the dreams. That's when the cupbearer remembered. There is a Hebrew servant in prison. He interpreted my dream and it came true. Pharaoh summoned Joseph at once. In a matter of hours, Joseph was pulled from the dungeon, shaved, robed, and brought into the throne room of Egypt. Pharaoh asked, "I have heard you can interpret dreams." Joseph replied, "It is not in me. God will give Pharaoh an answer of peace." Pharaoh recounted the visions and Joseph gave the interpretation. The dreams are one. The 7 good cows and ears represent 7 years of plenty. The 7 thin ones, 7 years of famine. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. But Joseph didn't stop there. He offered a divine strategy. Let Pharaoh appoint a wise man to oversee the land. Store grain during the good years so that Egypt may survive the famine. Pharaoh was stunned. Can we find such a man in whom is the Spirit of God? And in a moment that defied every law of man, Pharaoh said to Joseph, "You shall be over my house. Only in regard to the throne will I be greater than you." Joseph, once shackled in chains, now wore Pharaoh's signet ring. Clothed in fine linen, riding in the second chariot, proclaimed as Zaphanath-Paneah, revealer of secrets, he was 30 years old. The dream was not dead, it was merely delayed. But the journey wasn't over. His brothers were still in Canaan. The famine was still coming. And Joseph's greatest test had yet to arrive. The famine struck with brutal force. As Joseph had prophesied, 7 years of abundance gave way to desperation. Crops failed, wells dried, nations cried out for bread. But in Egypt there was grain, because Joseph had prepared. Word of Egypt's bounty spread across the lands, reaching even the hills of Canaan, where an aging Jacob turned to his sons and said, "Why are you standing here doing nothing? Go down to Egypt and buy us food or we will perish." 10 of Jacob's sons made the journey. Only Benjamin, the youngest, and Joseph's full brother, remained behind for fear of losing him as he'd lost Joseph. The brothers arrived in Egypt and bowed low before the governor. They did not recognize him. But Joseph knew. There they were, the very men who had thrown him into a pit, who sold him as a slave, who broke their father's heart. Now they bowed before him. The dream had come true, but Joseph did not rejoice. His heart trembled. He did not reveal himself. Not yet. He tested them. "You are spies," he accused. You've come to uncover the nakedness of the land. They protested, "We are honest men. There were 12 of us, sons of one man in Canaan. One is no more, and the youngest is with our father." Joseph demanded they bring their youngest brother as proof of their honesty. He held Simeon hostage and sent the rest away with grain, secretly placing their silver back into their sacks. Back in Canaan they found the silver. Fear gripped them. Jacob refused to let Benjamin go. But when the famine worsened, he relented. Judah, the same brother who once sold Joseph, now vowed to protect Benjamin with his life. The brothers returned to Egypt. This time Joseph welcomed them. A feast was prepared. Portions were given, but Benjamin's share was 5 times greater. Still, Joseph remained silent about his identity. One final test remained. He ordered his steward to hide his silver cup in Benjamin's sack. After they left, the guards pursued and accused them of theft. The cup was found in Benjamin's bag. The punishment: Benjamin would remain in Egypt as a slave. The brothers tore their clothes in anguish. They returned and stood before Joseph. And then came Judah, the same man who once said, "Let us sell him," now pleading with tears. He offered himself in Benjamin's place. "Let me remain instead of the boy. If he does not return, our father will die from grief." And at that moment the dam broke. Joseph could no longer restrain himself. He ordered all Egyptians to leave the room. He wept so loudly that Pharaoh's house heard. Then he turned to his brothers and said, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" Stunned, speechless, terrified, his brothers could not answer. But Joseph stepped closer, no longer with accusation but with love. "Do not be distressed or angry with yourselves. You sold me, yes, but God sent me before you to save lives." He embraced Benjamin and wept. Then he kissed each brother, and only then did they speak. The dream had not only come true, it had been redeemed. Forgiveness triumphed over vengeance. Mercy over wrath. Providence over pain. But Joseph's plan was bigger still. "Go, bring my father and all your families. You shall dwell in Goshen. There is yet more famine to come, but I will provide for you." And so the reunion was complete. Jacob, old and nearly blind, would embrace his long-lost son, and 70 souls of Israel would find refuge in Egypt. What began as betrayal became salvation. What started in a pit ended in a palace, because God had written the story, and his hand never left the pen. The family was reunited. The famine endured, but the people of Israel were safe. Pharaoh himself welcomed Jacob and his sons. Goshen, the richest land in Egypt, became their dwelling place. There the Hebrew nation would take root. Jacob, overwhelmed with joy, declared, "Now I can die in peace since I have seen your face and know you are still alive." For 17 more years Jacob lived in Egypt. When his time came, Joseph stood by him, as a son and a ruler, to honor his last wishes. But even after Jacob's death, fear lingered in the hearts of Joseph's brothers. What if Joseph now seeks revenge? They wondered. They came before him again, pleading for mercy. But Joseph, steady and wise, spoke words that have echoed across generations. "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive as they are today." No grudge. No vengeance. Only grace. Joseph's story ends not in bitterness but in blessing. He lived to see his children's children. And with his dying breath, he reaffirmed God's promise. "God will surely visit you and bring you out of this land, to the land he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob." Then Joseph died, a man of vision, virtue, and victory. But his bones would not remain in Egypt. He made the sons of Israel swear to carry them out when God delivered them, a prophetic declaration of future exodus. Thus closes the chapter of one man who held to his dreams, not because they were born of his own desire, but because they were breathed by God. From favored son to forsaken slave, from forgotten prisoner to father of a nation's future, Joseph's life was not a tale of luck, but of providence. A divine design written in suffering and fulfilled in mercy. If Joseph's journey resonates with yours, if you've seen God transform pain into purpose, share your testimony below. If this story has uplifted you, please like this video and subscribe to the Tales and Melodies of Faith channel, so that our work can continue to bring these powerful biblical narratives to more families. Please share this video as much as possible in your groups and with Christian friends. Your collaboration is essential so that we can tell more stories of faith. The palace may be closer than you think. Don't lose hope.